Hello everyone, and welcome to Yoshi 1 Kenobi's Amonkhet Remastered Cycling Deck for MTG Arena Historic. In this deck, we played a good old cycling strategy that we've seen in Standard a couple of months ago. But with the new added Amonkhet Remastered cycling cards, the most impressive one is Abandoned Sarcophagus. You may cast spells that have a cycling ability from your graveyard. If a card that has a cycling ability would be put in your graveyard from anywhere and wasn't cycled, exile it instead. From the gameplay videos, you'll see that this card holds its own pretty much on the same level as Zenith Flare. It's extremely powerful. You thought Flourishing was good, being able to cast one card from your graveyard per turn? Abandoned Sarcophagus pretty much allows us to cast anything in our graveyard, except Zenith Flare. See details inside the box. For free! And you also get a cycle, so you get to pay the cycle cost, put a card in your graveyard, then you cast it from your graveyard for free. So the cards in your hand have basically pay a kicker cost of 1 to draw an extra card, and then cast it from your graveyard for its natural cost, which is extremely powerful if you get enough stuff in the graveyard. Now there is some anti-synergy with Zenith Flare. Zenith Flare dealing damage to any target and gaining you life for X's number of cards with cycling abilities in your graveyard, as you will empty out your graveyard with the Abandoned Sarcophagus. But you basically end into a situation where you have an embarrassment of riches, where you can cast everything in your graveyard or use it as power for that Zenith Flare you're holding on. The second new addition from Amonkhet Remastered is the Hollow One, a 5-mana 4/4 Silence that you get to cast for free in this deck from turn 3 potentially. So it costs 2 less for each card you've cycled or discarded this turn. And it's a card that cycles itself. In particular, if you have, say, Flourishing Fox turn 1, turn 2 Dranith Stinger, turn 3 cycle, all the hollow ones in your deck, in your hand, are currently free to cast. So you get 4/4 bodies on turn 3, as well as your cycling triggers, which is very powerful. Also, when you have the Abandoned Sarcophagus, the mummies get to come out from the graveyard for potentially free again, as you get to cycle lots of cards. If you cycled only 2 things, that's fine, you can play it for 1 mana. As for the rest of the deck, we're playing pretty much a Boros list. Flourishing Fox and Valiant Rescuer are the all-star 1 and 2 drops of the deck. You also play the Dranith Stinger and the Dranith Healers, which have a cycling cost of 1 colorless, and have nice abilities every time you cycle. Stinger's a little bit better. For removal, we play Go for Blood. We also have Cast Out, which is a removal spell that can cycle for just 1 mana. So it gives us an improvement over other cards that we just wanted to cycle, that were off-color before. We're playing Imposing Vantasaur. Since we're playing 3 drops and 5 drops in the Sarcophagus and Hollow One, there's no room for Luris. So might as well play a card for which we have the colors to pay for it. We're playing Footfall Craters. Go for Blood, as I mentioned, is part of a removal spell. With the converted mana cost of the creatures we have, we get to play Giganta the Wellspring for free. Might come in handy, who knows. Free stuff is good. As for the lands, we're playing 4 plains, 4 mountains, 4 clifftop retreat, 4 secret foundies, and a pair of each cycling lands. Don't want to play too much of the cycling lands, because then your clifftop retreat enters tap, and these enter tap, and then you can't play anything on time, and you lose the game. Because this deck is fairly tempo oriented, you want to get that Flourishing Fox ticked up quite quickly, deal a bunch of damage, finish the opponent off with Zenith Flare, or play an Abandoned Sarcophagus and start flooding your opponent with all the cards that you've cycled throughout the game, which happens very fast because everything has cycle. And so let's move on to the games and see this deck in action. We are playing Amonkhet Remastered Cycling on MTG Arena Historic against Maker's Mulligan. And we have a playable hand. Although we don't really have any of the cards we want to play. But we'll keep it. We do have an abandoned Sarcophagus and a Zenith Flare. Opponent's playing Giganta, so presumably sacrifice. So let's shock ourselves. Telegraphing that we have a shock. Opponent plays a Rune Map Ruins. We get a healer. We get a stinger. Since our opponent's presumably playing burn, let's open up with a healer. That is likely to get shocked anyways. Opponent draws a mountain. Plays a Grim Lavamancer. Ooh, Flourishing Fox. I like Flourishing Fox. Probably a little trigger happy there, but yeah, let's cycle the Dranith healer. Hopefully we'll draw land. Shock number 2. Alright, we'll play the land tap. It's not the best, but it will do. When Wizards lightning our face, Lavamancers or Flourishing Fox. Or Lavamancers or Flourishing Fox. Yeah, that's right. Called it. Plays a Turbo Alchemist. I did not call that one. Sarcophagus is interesting. But not yet. First, we want to cast the Dranith Stinger. Cycle the cast out. Ping you for 1. Draw another land. We'll play this one tapped. We've lost enough life. Zenith Flares at 5. Turbo Alchemist pings us for 1. Skewer the critic. Opponent is playing hard burn. Turbo Alchemist burns us for 1. Yeah, that's some serious burn our opponent's got going. Skewer the critics again. Grim Lavamancer pings us. Well, pings the Dranith Stinger. We get a Valiant Rescuer. We will play the Valiant Rescuer. We will fight the Turbo Alchemist. Turbo Alchemist pings us. Pass the turn. You don't have 6 points of burn. Really? Or do you just want to Lavamancer me? I would really like Lavamancer on the Valiant Rescuer. Okay, okay. This is actually pretty good for us. We are at 1. And we Zenith Flare you for X equals 8. Gain 8 life. Bone Crusher Giant. Abandoned Sarcophagus. We now have access to a ton of things. You will play the Flourishing Fox, play a land tap, and pass the turn. Take 4. No, I think we have to chump. Opponent's threatening too much damage. 4 plus 2 is 5. Should bring us into a terrible life total. Alright. Well, we could cast out a Bone Crusher Giant. Or we could rescue a healer. Now let's go rescuer, healer, and pass the turn. Abandoned Sarcophagus is doing ridiculous work here. Grim Lavamancer. Alright. You have one Wizard's Lightning. I'll block with a Rescuer. I'll cycle a card. Giving us more gas for the Sarcophagus. Rescuer will trade with Bone Crusher Giant. Opponent has 2 Wizard's Lightning. That's to any target. Why didn't our opponent cast the Wizard's Lightning at us? Well, feels like it was a huge mistake. Hey. We would have had enough life gain from the Dranith healer to compensate anyways, and we'd have multiple Go for Bloods. So the Sarcophagus gave us like 10 cards to play, and we outvalued our opponent significantly. We out-healed with the Solar Flare, and that's really the combination of Solar Flare and the addition of Sarcophagus just gives that so much reach and inevitability to cycling that makes the deck actually fairly fun and powerful. Some games. We are playing Amonkhet Remastered Cycling on MTG Arena Historic against Storm. We have decent land, a stinger. On the draw, I guess we'll keep. Spare planes. And pass the turn. Opponent plays a Stitcher Supplier. It shall resolve. Let's see what you're milling. Thrill of Possibilities and Stitcher Supplier. Alright. In Mardu colors. Let's play Stinger. Let's start stinging you as we cycle through our deck. Whoa, Strider. Alright. Well, let's start cycling some stuff. Cycle the Imposing Ventrosaur. Cycle the Footfall Crater. Cycle the Dranith healer. Opponent sacrifices the goat. Scry a card to the top. Which is always what we don't want to see. And now we get a Flourishing Fox. We also get a free hollow one. It's like one of those lottery scratchers. Scratch 3 cards with cycling and get a free hollow one. And we can't attack with the Stinger. Ravenous Chupacabra. Opponent is definitely playing some Reanimator type shell. No blocks. Have a Go for Blood. Nothing really interesting to do with it, so we'll play the Flourishing Fox. Probably want to play the Caverns, so we'll cycle the step. Paying you for 1. Get an actual plains. That we can't cycle. So I'll cycle a Cavern. Grow and ping, grow and ping. And we'll think about the other one. Yeah, there's no point attacking here. Opponent sacks the Stitcher Supplier. Mills a Woe Strider and a Sunscourge champion. In life equals its power. I sense that our opponent is trying to pull some kind of really janky shenanigan here that's going to kill us. Or maybe the opponent just likes 4/4s that gain life. Alright, you got it. Let's cycle the healer. We'll keep the removal. You go down to 16. We have a second go for blood. Let's cycle one of them. Making our Flourishing Fox fairly big. Get another land. We will play that land. We could fight the Flourishing Fox and the Sunscourge champion, but then the Woe Strider would deal with it. Or we can keep on cycling and try to hit a Sarcophagus. Second we hit a Sarcophagus, our opponent is going to be in a terrible shape. We still have 2 more cyclings. Maybe we just attack with a Fox. Yeah, let's start with that. Opponent no longer has anything they want to throw away. Attack with the Fox. I'm threatening a 9/9. Alright. Bye bye, Chupacabra. You were a wordy puppy. It's a beast horse, not even a dog. I mean, give Dog Tribal a bone. Let's bring Giganta into your hand. Stitcher Supplier, yet again. Are you trying to play Croxos, maybe? Phyrexian Towers. Alright. Seems fair. Fine. One discards a card. Another Sunscourge. I don't really get what our opponent is doing, but it is apparently working. You're taking a lot of damage from this. Get another go for blood. You'll take 7. Which means we'll have to start being on the back foot here. So maybe the opponent's plan is just to play Sunscourge champions and Woe Striders and try to kill us with them. And it is a plan. And they are basically free. Let's play this tap. Play Giganta. And hold down the fort for a turn. Opponent doesn't have anything too threatening going on, and a 5/5 and a 6/6 are quite troublesome. We could even chump with the Dranith Stinger if we want to. Ooh, Massacre Worm. That I don't really want to see. That would be devastating. When Scry is the top card to the bottom, which is good for us. Rick Smutty Reveler. Alright. Well, it's really a discard draw, especially with these Sunscourge champions. Okay. God Pharaoh's Gift. That's your endgame. Well, I'm not gonna let that happen. 1, 2, 3. Abandon Sarcophagus. We are going to cast out that gate to the afterlife. guess we get to cast the Footfall Crater if we want to. Why not? Thank you, Giganta. The opponent is threatening to hit us for 6 next turn. Okay, make it 4. Or 3. Opponent scries to the bottom. Opponent still has a whole bunch of Eternalize or Revival effects. This is an intriguing game. Although with Giganta mana, we'll get to start casting some Go for Bloods, cast out, then we'll get a Revive Hollow One for almost free. The Abandoned Sarcophagus is just really, really good. Opponent brings back another 4/4. Alright, well, time to start playing stuff. I want to cast that Go for Blood. That's 2, 4, 6. I have 6, potentially 7 mana opened. We'll want to cycle some of these things. So we'll want to cycle 3 cards, probably. 1, 2, 3. 3. Yeah, 1, 2. So we cycle 3. Then we'll bring back the... we'll shock ourselves. Alright, so Dranith Healer. We'll cycle 3 and we'll bring back the Hollow One. Cycle this. Get a whole bunch of triggers. Cycle the Stinger. Cycle the Footfall Crater. Now we still have 2 mana available, which we'll use to Go for Blood. We get a free Hollow One from the graveyard, because free is the way we like our stuff. And then we get to fight Gonna will fight your Wolf Strider. Can pressure with the Flourishing Fox. We just have so much available. Opponent needs a triple block to get rid of it, which gets rid of most of the threats our opponent has. So I'm happy to take the trade. Ah, that is fun. We gotta cast another Footfall Crater if we want. Leave it in the graveyard. We do want to have some stuff left for Solar Flare if we draw one. Although right now the plan is mostly to Go for Blood. We should probably keep our cast out in case our opponent hits the God's Pharaoh's Gift. We need to be aware of the Massacre Worm off of the God Pharaoh's Gift. If we play around those, the game should be ours. Alright, well, let's cycle this Hollow One, so we get to cast it for free at the end of the turn. Gain life, ping for 1. Actually, I should probably... Oh, wait. I can't play those things from my hand. So I'll play one from the graveyard. I'll cycle this one, so it's available next turn when we want to play it. Ping, ping. Let's activate Giganta. So we can get to cycle this off of Giganta. Which means we get a free Hollow One from the graveyard. We get to cycle Hollow One, to cast Hollow One, and pass the turn, I guess. Well, let's force a trade. Attack with a Hollow One. Keeping the board clean plays in our advantage, so let's trade one of our Hollow Ones, which unfortunately gets exiled this turn. It'd be fun to keep on playing free Hollow Ones. Opponent has 18 cards in the graveyard, so our opponent is going to be able to cast their Ghost Riders again and again. That's okay. We'll just kill them again and again, thanks to our abandoned Sarcophagus. Alright, well, that's where we start. I really like Valiant Rescuer, so we'll cycle it. Paying you, paying you. I also want to play Flourishing Fox as fast as possible, so we're going to cycle it. We'll play our Flourishing Fox from the graveyard. We will play our Valiant Rescuer from the graveyard. Those tokens won't produce themselves. Opponent is thinking about sacking the goat. Although at this point, I should go back to my previous comment and be careful of the Massacre Worm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might be able to just Dranith Stinger opponent to death. I think we have enough to do that next turn, as our opponent is timing out. Pondering the option of sacrificing that goat token very heavily, or making himself a sandwich while we go through all our abandoned Sarcophagus triggers. Will our opponent make the sandwich in time? We will find out soon. Not sure how long these things are. Maybe I should start timing them. Although in the middle of a YouTube video game is probably not the best time to start timing these timers. I guess I could do a quick Google search, would also work. Alright, Valiant Rescuer resolves. We will pass the turn. Well, I guess we can attack with Giganta and the Hollow Ones. Or just the Hollow Ones. Attack Hollow Ones! Opponent will block the 2 Hollow Ones. Opponent is back and equipped with a sandwich. Ready to face our empty Sarcophaguses. From now on, they shall be known as the Iron Men of the deck. Yeah. I'm gonna sack that. Cycle the crater. Make a token, heal, damage, usual shenanigans, and pass the turn. We have our favorite 3-6-4-6 back in our hand. That'd be a little insulting. I mean, we just cast the imposing Vantasaur, give it haste and attack. Opponent brings back a second copy of Ghost Rider. Opponent dares not attack. Well then, we shall cycle a cast out. off of Giganta because it produces white. So there is some upside. And it's our turn. Now we could Zenith Flare our opponent, we could also Dranith Stinger our opponent to death, but what we are actually going to do is play the Imposing Vantazor and give it haste. To send a message. And we attack with the Imposing Vantazor. Then the rest of our army. Opponent can only block the 3 biggest attackers, which leaves 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The opponent is very dead on board. We didn't need the Imposing Vantazor. But then again, the Imposing Vantazor gives us the victory. With a little bit of help from the abandoned Sarcophagus, which allowed us to play a gazillion cards, including free hollow ones. I love free hollow ones. We are playing Amonkhet Remastered Cycling on MTG Arena Historic against PTY Magic. Pro Tour, yes, Magic. This is decent. We have a Dranith Stinger, we have a pair of lands, a bunch of cycling cards. Could be better, could be worse. Fortunately, we don't have a all-star fox, but otherwise our hand is pretty well balanced. We also have the Omega Lightning Bolt. Gonna love using that card. Your opponent just sees it coming. They see you counting your graveyard. And you're like, yep, it's enough. Let's play a secluded step. Ooh, Valiant Rescuer. Our hand suddenly got much better. And I don't think there's a 1 mana counter for that in blue. So now we are in a commanding position. Never mind. I thought this was going to be a mono blue matchup. I was wrong. Alright, well that Pyromancer's a problem. I think we're gonna start by cycling. Trying to hit land. Ask and you shall receive. Let's cast the Dranith Stinger. And pass the turn. Yeah, Stinger, because it stings. And not a singer, because that's one opera show I don't really want to listen to. Blazing Harmonies. One targets the Stinger. Alright. Token War. Token War, indeed. Cycle a healer. Make a token. That's not quite what we wanted. Cycle the Vantazor. Go for blood. That's interesting. Let's just trade with the token. Yeah, trade with the token. Ooh, free damage. I like free damage. Oh, alright. I was not expecting that. Blazing Volley. Deal 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. That's not good. That hurts like a truck. Or like a Blazing Volley. Well, let's cycle that, go for blood. Zenith Flare. Two, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How close are we to just Zenith Flaring our opponent to doom? Pretty close. Cycle, cycle, cycle. That's 9. We can hopefully draw a red land. That's 10. Then we take a ton of damage. It's not gonna make it. Maybe this line will. So let's play the healer. So just pure Zenith Flaring won't do it. Cycle this. Gain a life. Clifftop Retreat. We'll play that. Pass the turn. Lightning Axe. I'll cycle in response. Gain a life. Draw Flourishing Fox. We take 10. Down to 6. Alright. Well, opponent can hit us for 12 next turn. We can Zenith Flare for 9. But then we need to draw a land. We have 2 draws for land next turn. We have the main draw and the cycle draw. So yeah, 12. We can go to 15. Let's go to 15. Zenith Flare you. Pass the turn. So we need to cycle a card anyways next turn. So we need to draw or cycle into an untapped land. Yeah, I don't think there's another line. Untapped land! Or not. Yeah. Well. How far were we from the next untapped land? That would have been beautiful. And we resign. We were 1 card away from glory. It would have been epic. But we didn't quite get there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the Yoshi icon at the right of your screen. It doesn't cost you any mana, and it greatly helps to support this channel and keep the awesome videos coming.